because the majority of Jake, they were so consumed in the ways of how things were going in the society that they were in, rather than being consumed in the ways of righteousness, which Yahawashi was bringing forth, which we are bringing forth. Go on.
That's the end of that one, but I've got another one. This is 1 John 4, starting at verse 4. Ye are of the Most High God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world.
Exactly. So if it's saying that we've overcome, like it's already been done, past tense, right? Then not past tense, but future tense. Then that means that it's been, like I said, it's been done. I've said it before. You know, everything's been preordained, as we've all been saying. But what I'm going to say is this: how can you overcome the world when you're in the world? When you're expecting friendship of the world? Again, you're not in the right spirit if you have this mentality. If you have the mentality of F the world, then you got the good mentality.
Yep.
Because when all hell falls apart in this world, guess what? Those that are in the word, Yahawashi, will what? Stand. Doesn't it also say that heavens and earth will pass away, but my word
shall not pass away?
Exactly. So if we hearken onto the word and we're in sync with the word, then we become the word, standing. The last one standing.
There's another one here. Next verse is 1 John 4 verse 5. They are of the world, therefore speak they of the world, and the world heareth them.
Right, and therefore they speak of the world, and the world heareth them. And that's why when you look at these camps, especially the boys in purple and as well as the boys in white, the majority of Jake will cleave more to them camps, because these camps are just as worldly as the majority of Jake is. And that's a bad thing, because that means that you're not of the Lord. That means you're not a true, genuine prophet that was sent from the Lord. Okay? Yahawashi is the way, the truth, and the life. He is what? The vine. And without him, you could do nothing. Without him, there is no salvation. So we want to what? Cleave unto the one that has what? Given his life for his people, so that we can be resurrected back to him again and receive life everlasting, and as well as salvation, first and foremost. Okay? So if you're stepping outside of the confines out of that, then you're in darkness. You don't have the energy. You don't have the force of the Most High, which Yahawashi is, which is the force of life. Go on.
There's a bit more. It's 1 John 4 verse 5. They are of the world, therefore speak they of the world, and the world heareth them. We are of the Most High God. He that knoweth God heareth us. He that is not of the Most High God heareth us not.
That's right.
Hereby we know the spirit of truth and the spirit of error.
Right, and we know the spirit of truth, and as well as we know the spirit of error. Again, because why? We have the light, don't we? We know that there's error, and we know where there's truth. So this is the thing. So again, I say, this is why we have no excuse why we shouldn't be disciplined. We have the laws and the commandments and the statutes. We have examples in the books, and as well as we have examples right now that have taught us this. So we should be applying all of these things to keep order, to keep structure. If you have a building that's not structured right, guess what?
It collapses.
It's going to collapse. So this thing is about order and structure.
Yep.
That's what the Lord is setting up. Order and structure. I mean, I know that we've been in the projects too long. We've been raised the wrong way without structure. But guess what? F all of that. We got to return back to the righteousness of the Lord, which is what? Setting the right kind of structure. Okay, go on.
Next precept would be Luke 6, starting at verse 20. And he lifted up his eyes on his disciples and said, Blessed be ye poor, for yours is the kingdom of God.
Exactly.
Blessed are ye that hunger now, for ye shall be filled. Blessed are ye that weep now, for ye shall laugh.
Right.
There's a point. Blessed are ye when men shall hate you, and when they shall separate you from their company, and shall reproach you, and cast out your name as evil, for the Son of Man's sake.
Right. And also hold on to that and get Matthew's 10, and I believe it's what, 34? When I think it's 36 or 37, when he said, think not that I've come to send peace, but rather division. Because the thing of it is, like I said, even within your own family, you're going to be separate from the rest of your family because you're going to take on a different kind of discipline, a different kind of way of life from them. Just like Abraham. Look at Abraham. Abraham was the first holy man in his time, and I like to bring this up from time to time. He was under his father, of course, as we've all were under our parents. But his father was basically a
idolater.
Right, an idolater. He was a pagan. He worshipped the moon god, which was the the primal god which they were worshiping the Chaldees at the time. So Abraham separated from him, and when he separated from him through the spirit and power of the Lord, guess what? He became a man of the Lord. He became holy, which the term holy means to be separate or to be made clean. So now that we've been made clean, we have to maintain ourselves in the cleanliness. Okay, and that's the what? Keeping on the unto the work. Taking heed to the work, excuse me. By the washing of the work. Doesn't it say that? That
how shall a young man cleanse his way? By the washing of water, by the word.
By the word. And that's what keeps us clean. So we out here just moving how we want to move, and we're not taking advice and we're not taking order, then guess what? You ain't no different than the heathen. You ain't no different than the heathens out here that's moving this beast.
Yep.
You're basically declaring yourself as a beast when your actions are showing that you don't want to take order under the brothers, or even let's just begin at the head, the apostles, all the way down to the different brothers on down in their positions. All right? We're not beasts, we're men of moral code and conduct. And this is it right here. So this is what we got to be operating in, man. Go on, brother.
This is Matthew 10 and verse 34. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword.
Yeah.
For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law.
Right. And that's just the point. When you come into this thing, you will be separate, and it's going to be well known. Your mother may have, liked to cook you a certain kind of food, and, it may have probably been pork, and all of a sudden you don't eat pork anymore, or you don't eat shrimp anymore. Guess what? They're going to look at you differently. And then you're going to call them and say, oh yeah, we're the Israelites. They're going to kick your ass out the house. There's been many of brothers that have experienced this. All right? And that's the fulfillment of what Yahawashi said, prophecy. So when you come into this thing, that's going to be the reaction, because you're now cut from a different cloth. So you can't, if your family members are showing they don't like what you do, then you got to also take heed that the majority of Israel don't like what you do. So you don't need to try to get, admiration from the majority of Jake. And if you think you're going to get admiration from Jake, again, you don't know the scriptures. You ain't reading the scriptures. You reading it, but you ain't reading it the correct way. Go on, brother.
It's interesting what you're saying, Elder, because there's such a thing as cause and effect. So let's say you're a person who's coming into this truth. You've got two sides, right? You can go with the right hand or the left hand. You could become more righteous or become more wicked. If you even yourself think, you know what, man, I'm going to cleave more to the Lord and try and do more in line with what the scriptures say, you best believe that it's going to be a counter reaction from the people around you, because most of this world is steeped in wickedness. So if they see you making more of a move towards being more righteous, then oftentimes they're going to be more wicked towards you, because they don't like the fact that you're showing yourself to be separating yourself from their company.
Right.
So that's why the world's going to hate you for it, because deep down inside, this is a spiritual war.
Exactly.
And the battle lines are drawn. The things we see play out in the flesh, really, it's the spirits at work that make these things play out the way they do.
Yes, I want you to go and get me another precept. We can get also the book of John 14. No, not John 14. Let's go and get something else, because we don't already touch on these precepts already through the Spirit. You see? So what we're gonna have to do is go and get what was we reading before? Read what you got before again.
I dropped it because I let it go. I read John 15:16. You are not of the world. I read First John 4, and then I read Matthew 10:34, which is about your father's. I come to send not peace on earth but a sword, and set the father against his son. So that was the last one, Matthew 10:34.
Okay, come. All right, yeah. So now, tell you what, since we're dealing with the topic of being disciplined or being under disciplehood of Yahawashi, let's go and read Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, Sirach 18 and verse 13, but the point is in verse 14.
It's like you call that again, Sirach?
Yes, Sirach 18 and 13 and verse 14.
Come on.
Because again, we gotta keep the point on board that we are disciples of Yahawashi, and this knowledge that we have is bringing us back again because we were once lost. All right, so let's go and read this.
Right, Sirach 18, starting at verse 13. The mercy of man is towards his neighbor, but the mercy of the Lord is upon all flesh. He reproveth and nurtureth, and teacheth and bringeth again.
So what is the all flesh talking about? We know that it ain't talking about all nations. If you have the understanding, again, through thy precepts, I get understanding. So we know that the people that the Lord has mercy upon has always been the Israelites. And the proof of that right now, as we fast forward, is that 2,000 years ago, Yahawashi died on the cross. What was the death of the cross about? By us being reconciled, meaning to be made friends again with the Most High. Okay, so that's once again showing a way of showing mercy unto the same people that were under the covenant, which are the Israelites. So let's read that again.
This is Sirach 18 verse 13 again. The mercy of man is towards his neighbor, but the mercy of the Lord is upon all flesh.
Right, which are the Israelites. Go on.
He reproveth and nurtureth, and teacheth and bringeth again, as a shepherd his flock.
Right, so read that again.
Sirach 18:13 again. The mercy of man is towards his neighbor, but the mercy of the Lord is upon all flesh.
Go on.
He reproveth and nurtureth.
So who's receiving the reproof and the rebuke? The Israelites. We're the ones that's being reproved and being rebuked for the wrongs that we've done through the teachers that are being sent. The teachers, the Lord didn't send the teachers or the prophets to all nations. He sent the teachers and the prophets to the nation of Israel. Go on, let's read that.
Yep. He reproveth and nurtureth, and teacheth and bringeth again, as a shepherd his
flock. So how
flock.
does the Lord teach? Again, he sends the teachers. Doesn't it also say that thine eyes shall see thy teachers?
Yep.
So we're the teachers of our people. We're the teachers of the greatest nation in the world. We're proving them back to their first estate. So that's the Lord through the prophets as teachers, showing mercy once again, bringing them back. Read it again.
Sirach 18:13 again. The mercy of man is towards his neighbor,
right,
but the mercy of the Lord is upon all flesh.
Go on.
He reproveth and nurtureth, and teacheth and bringeth again, as a shepherd his flock.
Right, and that's the point. Bringing again as the shepherd as his flock. So Yahawashi was a vessel to bring Israel back, and he is the shepherd that gave his life to the sheep.
Yep, the good shepherd.
Right, exactly. The good. Thank you for correcting me. The good shepherd which cared for the sheep, that gave his life for the sheep. If you can, give me that in John 10.
Go on.
In verse 14.
John chapter 10, starting at verse 14, says, I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep, and have known of mine.
Right.
As the Father knoweth me, even so I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep.
And that's exactly what he did. When he died on that cross, literally that's what he did. He became the sacrificial lamb so that our sins can be forgiven. Back in the ancient world, we used to use oxen, use goats, cattle, all various manner of cattle to sacrifice for sins. So when he died on the cross, he became the sacrificial lamb, and as well as he atoned for our sins. So now we stand the chance of being under grace, and we gotta cleave to his ways so that we can be delivered and saved, being his disciple. So again, if we're his disciples and we're looking for salvation, we should be remaining in his ways. Not going off and trying to do what you want to do and yeah, you know, you just being self-driven, being free-spirited. You got to cut that out. You could be free-spirit to a certain degree, but you got to stay within the confines of what's going on here, man, in this truth. Go on, brother.
Forgive me, you might have said this in your recent video, but what did Samuel say to Saul? Didn't he say, for rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft? So if you're rebellious to the word and the law of the Most High, then you're no more than a witch or a warlock.
That's it. And in the word it says, what is it? Servants, be subject to your masters. Verse 17 says, honor all men. That's in what? Peter's chapter 2 and verse 18, brother. If you can pull that out for me.
1 Peter 2 and 18. Okay, come on.
Begin at verse 17 first, and then the point is 18.
Right. 1 Peter 2 starting at verse 17 says, honor all men, love the brotherhood, fear the Most High God,
Right.
honor the King.
And that's what we need.